Crafternoon, everyone. I'm Gina from Gina K Designs, and it's great to see all of you coming in from all around the world. Today, we are going to be playing with our brand new Christmas in July card kit, and we're going to be making some tree elements for cards, and I'm going to show you two different ways to do it. Now, the tree stamp and die combination in this kit might look a little bit intimidating because of the way it looks on the stamp set, but I'm going to show you an easy way to create beautiful trees in just minutes, and you can mass produce them this way. You can foil them, you can use them with stamps, all different ways to make this work, and I think you're going to find it very easy and very satisfying, and you're going to be able to make a lot of beautiful cards and tags in no time. But before we get started with all of that, let's say hello to Tom. Hey, Tom.
Happy Crafternoon, everybody.
Oh, we match again.
How'd that happen?
I don't know, but I feel like I've been wearing this shirt way too much.
Yes.
This is one of those shirts that is really comfortable to wear, and I wear it and then I wash it and then it's dry and it's on top of all the clothes, and I'm like, oh, I'll wear that again today. I feel like I've been wearing it a lot. So
we should get 5 of these shirts.
Yeah, well, but if we could get them in different colors, it would be good.
All right, get on that.
I'll get on that right away. How are you doing?
I am well, thank you.
Good, good. It's great to see you. Do you have a word of the day for everybody?
I do.
Oh, good, good. Because we don't get those at release parties, so it will
Right.
be very fun to. It does look like it's been stenciled in Dusty Rose. Deborah said my shirt looks like it's been stenciled. It does kind of look like a stencil too. Little ink blended shirt. Yes. All right, well, Tom, I'll look forward to that. We're going to get started right away on today's cards because we've got a lot of techniques to show here, or at least a lot going on with the techniques. So for those of you who missed out on the release party, I highly encourage you to watch it. It was a really fun party, and I gave you a full breakdown of everything that's in the kit. Well, this is what we're going to be using today. This is the Oh Christmas Tree. Let me take my watch off. I don't like having my watch on in my videos. People can just text me later. Okay, so this is a really fun set. It's got 3 different trees, and then it's got different ways, different combinations that you can do. So if you just wanted to do a plain tree just sitting like right in the snow, and you just wanted to put sparkles on it, you could stamp these 2 layers. If you wanted to just do a plain tree and then have a different color to kind of convey the little pine needles and separations on the tree, you could just do these 2 together. But if you want all 3 of them together, you could do a 3-step look. Then you can always add a star on top of the tree. This would be die cut separately, and you could pop it up. You could do anything like that you want. It's also got these cute little elements that fit the snowflake inside, which would be a really fun background pattern. And we can do that today in lieu of the foil. So I'm going to make a card that mimics a card that I showed on release party night with foil, and a kind of a different way that you can do it using embossing powder. So I'll do that for my main card today, but I am going to show you how to foil using the Poly-Glaze Sheets too, just so that you can see how easy that is to accomplish as well. All right, so let's start off. I am going to just heat up my fuse foiling system here. Oh, I think so I'm going to set that to 3 and let that heat up a little bit. Now let's get started right away with stamping these trees. So I'm going to pick a nice deep green, and one of my favorite greens is, where is it here? Christmas pine. Christmas pine. So I'm going to use Christmas pine for all of my different stems here. Stems of the tree, or the trunks of the tree. They kind of look like stems because they're so delicate. And I'm going to get a piece of cardstock here, and I'm going to stamp all 3 of these onto this piece of cardstock. So I am going to use my Misty for this. However, you certainly can use an acrylic block. But for stamping the rest of the tree, I highly recommend using a Misty or some other type of stamping platform. So this set does have a full die set with it. I put mine on a magnet. These magnets are now sold separately if you missed that at the release party. This is a way that we can combat the increasing prices with tariffs and things, and it allows us to still give you the meat, which is the dies. You can always put them in a plastic bag if you don't have a magnet, but we wanted to make sure that we could get those dies to you at the same price as they've always been. And now our stamps and dies in our store are being sold separately. So if there were any die sets that you missed because we ran out of the bundle and you purchased the stamp set, you can now buy the dies separately. And we're going to keep doing it that way just because although it's easy to pop a stamp and die set, you know, a bundle in your cart all at once, for those that missed out on the die sets, it's really frustrating. And a lot of you have reached out to us. So we're going back to selling stamps and dies separately. But we've lowered the price of our dies so that the dies with the stamp set equal the same price as that discounted bundle. All right, so now we are going to stamp these 3 different trunks onto our cardstock. And just a big shout out to Brianne Loveland. Brianne, thank you so much for being here always. Brianne is in our comments on YouTube sharing links to things. So when people are looking for links, if you can't find something, Brianne is our link ninja. She can always find it for you. All right, so I'm going to just go ahead and stamp these. I want to have them separated enough so I can die cut them. So that looks pretty good. And let's use the Christmas pine on these. Now, if you don't have Christmas pine, you could always use medium or dark spruce. That would be a great color, too, for the cards that we're making today. And you can always also use black or whatever color you want. Use a charcoal brown. Okay, and let's stamp those. So this is a very delicate stamp, and I really like the delicate nature of it. I am going to give it one more layer here just to make sure that it's super solid. All right. I'm not going to overpress. I just want to make sure that we get that nice crisp impression. Okay, and then for the greeting, I think I might use black for the greeting because you know I'm going to put my little black panels on this, and so black might be good for the greeting. So, I'm putting this on my die sheet. That's not going to work. Okay, let me put these away. Get them out of here. And we're not going to do any other stamping on this yet. So I'm going to pull these off. And then for my greeting, I am going to... Let's see. How about if we just do a simple Merry Christmas for this one? Just simple. And I did see somebody struggling to line up a greeting with a die, or maybe it was another image with a die. And so what I want to say is whenever you're using a stamp that has a coordinating die, one thing that you shouldn't do, here, let's use the Oh Christmas Tree, all right? One thing that you should never do is try to put your stamp on the Misty like this. Here's the reason why, is because when I put this on here, see, I could see, can you guys see here how that is like, it's like twisted. See how it's kind of going uphill a little bit? Well, that's not going to cut out properly with the die. So what I suggest is to just lay the stamp down, and this is whether you're using a Misty or an acrylic block. Just lay the stamp down and let it take its natural shape. Then either pick it up with the Misty, or if you're using an acrylic block, you know, just have it kind of lay down in its original position and then pick it up with the acrylic block to use it. This way you're not inadvertently like twisting the stamp on the block or on the Misty, and it'll be able to die cut perfectly. So that's something that can happen every now and then. And I think I'm going to switch and use the Oh Christmas Tree greeting for this one, since I used Merry Christmas for the other one, my sample that I'm going to show you. Okay. So I'm going to stamp this in black onyx. Let's just go ahead and do that. And again, this is a very delicate greeting, so it's worth it to just stamp it once and maybe stamp it a second time to get it a little darker rather than pressing down too hard. You can stamp it a few times. All right, that looks pretty good. So that is also going to be die cut. Now I'm going to get rid of all of this for a second because we're going to do a little die cutting. So let me put this back so I don't lose my greeting. And let me find the top sheet for this stamp set. There we go. Okay. So now I'm going to get my die cutting machine. And I'm using the Intracut, but you could use any die cutting machine that you want. And I took my magnetic plate home. And now I don't have a magnetic plate here, so I'm going to have to do a little taping. But that's okay. So I like to use Masking Magic to tape with because it doesn't tear the paper. These are kind of been overused, so I'm going to get a new one. This is Masking Magic strips, and I'm just going to use one to help hold my dies down. You can also use washi tape for this, or pixie tape, or whatever low-tech tape you have. Now we are going to die cut these before we do any more stamping on them. So I'm just lining it up at the top and at the trunk. And then I'm going to use my tape here to tape it down so it doesn't shift. I think I could probably do all of these at the same time. All right, so this one goes on this tree. Let's see here. Looking pretty good. And then we have one more to position, which is this tree. All right, so we're die cutting first, and it's really important to die cut these first before you stamp the next section of this tree. Otherwise, you might stamp it too high or too low to get a good centered impression. All right, so we're going to cut these out, and you can cut millions of these out before you do the next stamping part, because the next stamping part is going to allow you to mass produce these cards. So we'll just pop those out, and there's our trees ready to go. Now while I have this out, I'm going to peel these off because I can reuse these pieces of Masking Magic. I'm going to die cut the words for this card, my greeting. But I'm going to save all these first. So I hope you guys are having a great week out there. It's been hot here in the Midwest, but it's cooling off a little bit. Hopefully it's not too hot where you are, and you're having a beautiful week. Okay, so here's the die. This one's easy to figure out. And I'm going to line that up and tape it down. There we go. I know we are shipping pretty fast right now. I mean, you know, depending on when you ordered too. If you ordered after the release party or the next day, it'll still be a little bit of time. But if you ordered early into the release party, we are flying with shipping. Okay, so now I have my greeting for my card, my little Oh Christmas tree. There it is. And now we're going to get to the next step, the stamping. So I'm going to put my die cutting machine away for a little bit. I'll bring it back for our assembly. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to get a scrap of any colored paper. So I'm going to cut some of this Lucky Clover down because I don't actually have Well, I probably have a scrap in there, but I think this will be good. All right, so I'm going to put my Lucky Clover cardstock here. Now, the reason why I'm using colored cardstock is because I have made my little templates here. I'm going to make them out of what, you know, what these trees fell out of, these trees over here. I'm going to use the white. So I'm going to cut these out as little templates for mass production. And once you cut one set of these templates out, you can use them over and over again for lots of cards. You don't have to make them fresh every time. Just store them in your stamp pocket with your stamps and that'll be fine. And you can see I'm not really worried about the way I'm trimming these out. I'm just cutting them so that there's enough room around them so that I can maybe do more than one at a time. But we'll see. I might only do one at a time anyway. Okay, so now I'm going to take the stamps for the green parts of the trees. And I'm going to do 3 different colors here. I'm going to do maybe like an Applemint color. I'm going to do an aqua. And I'm going to do a light purple. But for right now, it really doesn't matter what color I stamp these in. I just need to stamp them in a color that I can really see. So I'll pick something like Tranquil Teal, because I'm going to be able to see Tranquil Teal really well. So I'm going to stamp these up with some Tranquil Teal. And I'm not even worried that it's a great impression. I'm not worried about that at all. So if it looks a little bit rugged or I don't care. I just need to make sure that the outlines show. See, I can see completely around the trees. Those edges are crisp. Leave your stamps on the Misty. Do not take your stamps off the Misty. Now, I'm going to position my templates here so that my branches have a nice even space around them. Does that make sense? This is very similar to techniques that I've showed in the past. All right, so we're just gonna tape that. We'll do the same thing over here. These are gonna be ready for mass production. So if you were doing all of your trees in the same color, you definitely could, you know, do 3 at a time. Because I'm doing mine in different colors, I'm just going to do 1 at a time so I can clean the stamps and just not have too many colors going on all at the same time. Now, if this may be tedious to some of you, and you might say, well, I can just see and stamp it where I want it. That's great. If you can do that and you can, you know, dead center it, that's great. The problem is that for me, and the reason why I teach this is because number 1, I can't always center it. And number 2, if I try to stamp the whole thing before I actually die cut it, sometimes my tree is too high, sometimes my tree is too low, and then I can't get it to die cut properly. So by doing this technique, I know where this is going to stamp. I can see where it's going to stamp. It's going to stamp perfectly. If I can center it. All right, there we go. Just take the extra bit of time to do it right. Okay, so now all of my little templates are set up. So my first color, I'm going to use Applemint. All right, so let's pop this tree in to the template. We haven't removed the tree here. Just make sure you ink up the right one, because it's easy to want to ink up this one because it feels like it should be this one, but this one is actually this one. And then I'm going to do this probably 2 coats of Applemint. So we'll make sure that it's in there nicely, and then we'll stamp it. Sometimes it'll stick, and that's fine. We'll put it back there for a second coat. See how easy this is? So if you're mass producing this holiday card, you could stamp all of those inside parts first. You could die cut all your pieces, and then you can just come over and mass produce this part of the card. All right, so we're done with Applemint. My next color is going to be Ocean Mist. Let's put Applemint back, and we'll get some Ocean Mist. So we're going to use this one right here. I have a problem picking things up with my nails because they're press-on nails and they're a little too thick. So it's hard to pick up a small piece of cardstock. All right, so we're going to go in the center here. And I like doing these non-traditional colors, but of course you could pick 3 different greens if you prefer. You could pick Applemint, you could pick Lucky Clover, you could pick Jelly Bean Green or Light Spruce, you know, and have a couple of different colors that way. So there's our second tree. And now we're going to do our third tree, and I'm going to do the third tree in Light Lilac. Let's find that color. Oh my gosh, of course it's going to be the last one that I pick. Okay. And so here we go with the Light Lilac. Make sure that's in place. And stamp. I like these soft colors for Christmas cards. I don't know, it feels like kind of fun and modern to do it this way. It's a really pretty color. And these 3 colors look so nice together, don't they? They're just pretty together. Okay, so now we've got those 3 trees. And now let's take a minute for those to dry and we can work on a background. So I'm going to put these stamps back since we're done with these for now. Actually, should have left them on there, but too late. Actually, I'm going to leave this one on. I'm going to leave this one on. This way I can show you the fuse method, and yes, I can. Okay, so I'm going to leave that on there. I didn't move that one. I moved the other 2. Okay, now let's get a piece of plain paper here, and let's get an acrylic block. So here's a tiny acrylic block, and we're going to make a little background. So I'm going to make a background using those same 3 colors. I shouldn't have put them away. Applemint, at least I know where they are now. Light Lilac, and Ocean Mist. Now I have not used these stamps yet, so they're very new, and I'm just going to rub my finger over them like this, just to remove any manufacturing residue. Then I'm going to take my tidy towel and I am going to clean it a little bit and then rub my finger over it again. And then I'm going to use a little tiny piece of scrap paper, which is almost the same size as my big paper here, but that's all right. And I'm just going to test this to make sure that it's stamping well. So I might have to stamp it a couple of times first just to get it to stamp well. Well, that looks pretty good. I'm good with that. Okay, so now that I have that, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to stamp a random pattern. I'm going to start in the center because that's easy. And then I'm going to do like a 5, like if you were looking at a die, you know, like not a die, a cutting die, like dice, 1 dice, which is a die. I'm going to do the number 5. Okay. All right. So now I've got those 5. Now I'm going to go outside of this, and I'm going to do this, See how I'm building my pattern so that it looks fairly even? All right, that's my first one. Now I'm going to go to the next little dot, which is this one here. All right, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to rub my finger over this stamp to remove some of the residue. Okay. And then I'm going to use my tidy towel just to clean it a little bit. And then I'm going to use my finger again to remove any residue. And now I'm going to go in with a different color. How about if I use the Applemint on this one? All right. Now I'm going to try to find points. Oh, should I try to fix that? I'm going to try to fix that. I don't know if I can, but I don't think it'll be too bad if I... Not bad, not bad. Okay. I'm filling in around these areas here. Just kind of in between. And I can go back with some of those other colors again, which I think I will. I think I'll put blue up here and blue down here. But I'm just having a little bit of fun doing a pattern on here using the background stamps that come in this set. So we'll add a little bit more ocean mist. We'll do one here, one down here, one up here, and one here. Okay, so now we're going to go back in with the tiniest dot. Let's see. Well, I don't always stamp perfectly freehand. That's a really nice comment, and I appreciate you saying that. I think I've gotten lucky a few times, but I have a trash can of mistakes. So if you struggle at all, don't feel bad, because I promise you, I have my share of mistakes. I'm going to test this one to see what the color looks like. That's cute. Okay. All right, so we're going to fill in here with a lot of these little dots of purple. And you see, I'm just like being real random about this. I don't want everything to look exactly the same, so I'm kind of turning the stamp as I go. But we're just making sure that we have enough color divided up around this piece of cardstock. You know, that all the blues aren't together and all the greens aren't together. I'm not going to need that much, but... And we're still going to fill in with a little bit of black in here. Okay, that looks pretty good to me. Now we're going to have a little bit of fun with the black onyx, because we are going to stamp the snowflakes on top. And these are so delicate, these snowflakes, that they're going to look really good in black. All right, so again, I haven't used this one yet, so I did rub my finger over it. I'm just going to see how it stamps. Oh yeah, look how cute and delicate that is. Do you want me to zoom in a little bit? Maybe it would be easy. Yeah, that would be a cool stencil, actually, wouldn't it? It'd be a very fun stencil. Because the circles are wonky. They're not perfect. They're very wonky, but it makes it cute. All right, so we're just going to stamp on top of these. And I'm spinning the paper a little bit as I go. This way all the snowflakes aren't exactly in the same position. Oops. All right, wish me luck here. I'm going in. There we go. Not bad. There'll be stuff to cover that. It won't be so bad. It doesn't matter as long as it's better than horrible. But isn't this a cute little pattern? And gosh, I mean, this is the kind of stuff that's going to get cut off, so I'm not worried about it. This is the kind of stamping that we all used to do. Like in the old days, we just made our own papers and we made our own, you know, backgrounds and stuff. And it was super fun to do. All right, so here we've got a really tiny little, not even the tiniest yet though, but we've got a tiny little snowflake. It's so cute. And we're going to just fill in the green ones. I'll hold this up closer to the camera so you can see a little bit better what these look like. And don't worry if they're not centered in the circles. I mean, that's kind of part of the fun of this little wonky tree set. Making things wonky is fun. Okay. I think that's good. So I'm going to take this same little stamp and I'm going to add just a few little plain ones in here just to fill in some of the spots. It's such a delicate little stamp that it's not overpowering even though it's in black, but it will fill in so it doesn't look so empty in between the colors. You can do a lot of these and get away with it. Where do I go? Here. I'll go here. Looking good. All right. We have more to do here, so we don't have to focus completely on this stamp. All right. You can see we're making our cute little background. Now we've got the tiniest snowflake. Don't lose this stamp. It's almost too small. It's so tiny. But look how cute it is. It's just a little star. It's so cute. So I'm going to try to aim for these purple dots the best that I can. I'll do the best I can. As long as they're close. It's easy to miss one too because there's just so much going on. But I'm doing this kind of background to just show you how to use the background stamps, and also because on my other card sample that I'm going to show you later, I used Poly-Glaze Sheets. And it's a similar feel because it's very whimsical and it's very delicate, but you know, not everybody likes to foil. So I want to make sure that you guys have options that you can do with just the stamps. Now, if you wanted to do this so that it sparkled, you could go over all of these instead of using black. You could have used clear embossing ink, and then you could have added gold powder. Now, I am going to use a little gold embossing on these trees, but I didn't want to do any in the background here. I'm just adding a few of these. But isn't this fun? You can make your own Christmas paper. You could do this in more traditional colors if you wanted, reds and greens, maybe a little aqua here and there. But this is just such a cute little pattern. And it does kind of feel like snow is falling. And you can really fill it up so that you've got good surface, you know, a lot of good surface to cut out here. All right, and I'm going to check my Master Layouts 2 die to make sure that I've done enough. You're right, Jan Butler said these stamps would be good in the mandala maker. Yep, the wreath builder, for sure. You could use these as wreath builder elements as well. All right, let me find the Master Layouts 2 die set because that's what I want to cut this out with. And I think I have plenty here to get a nice pattern. So this is going to be our next step. And the reason why I didn't start working on these trees right away is because I really wanted this ink to dry. Dye ink dries super quickly, but it sinks into the paper, and sometimes the paper's still a little damp. So if you're going to do embossing over an area that you inked, even when you're using a dye ink, you do kind of want to let it dry a little bit first. Okay. So let's get the die cutting machine, and we'll do all of our die cutting for this card, and that won't take long. But let me zoom out here. Whoa! Did anybody else just get a little sick? Sorry. Okay. So I'm going to cut the first one out. I am going to use a little bit of tape to make sure that it stays in place. So, where's all my tape? Did I throw all my tape away? No. Did I? Oh my goodness. Well, maybe I did. It's all right. It's probably somewhere on the table. But that's all right. Okay, so I'm doing this on an angle just because it goes through the machine a lot better this way. It's easier on the machine if you have one corner of these big dies going in through the machine first. And we'll cut that. Could you add ink to the sparkle gel to color it? You know, Sarah, I haven't tried that, and it's possible that you can. That would definitely be something you'd have to try. But one of the things about the sparkle gel that's cool is you can ink on your paper first and then go over it with the sparkle gel and get that same effect. And this way you can make sure that your ink is super smooth before you actually add the gel. So, okay, so there's my little pattern paper piece. Isn't that cute? Now, if you really wanted to jazz this up, you could go with the gauze stamp that we have in our collection, and you could maybe do that in soft stone, and that would make this look like fabric too. But I think this is cute and simple and clean, and I like it. So I'm going to stick with it just like that. Now, I'm going to cut one of these from Master Layouts too. This is the smaller rectangle from that set. And I've got... Should I cut it out of here? I can kind of see the shadow of those stampings that I did. I'll just keep that as a tester piece, and I'll find another scrap here of white. And this is just going to be a plain white piece. Is this the same cardstock? This looks whiter to me. I don't know why. I have all kinds of junk. I'll use the one where I cut my greeting out, just so everything's consistent. I have all kinds of scraps in here from over the years, so I don't know what I have, to be honest. Okay. Let's see now. This is going to be where our trees go. And although they're going to be bigger than this, that's okay because they're going to extend a little bit, and that's going to add some interest to the card. Remember, everything doesn't always have to fit inside the die cut piece. So now I'm going to cut a black panel using the smaller plain rectangle. The larger of the smaller rectangles. Oh my gosh. These are all Master Layouts too. Let's just say that. The non-stitched one. All right. There we go. And then these two are going to align together like that. So a nice little shadow layer. It's almost a shame to cover that background, but we can make more backgrounds, and they're pretty easy to make. And it's nice every once in a while to pull out your acrylic block. You know what? I'm going to use this so we don't waste paper. For this piece, I'm just going to cut it right here. Why not? Let's not waste the black cardstock. I'm in a non-wasteful mood today. And welcome everybody. It's great to see all of you coming in. We've got friends from YouTube here. We've got friends from Facebook. And I don't even know if we're broadcasting on Twitch. I do set it up every week, but I don't even know. If you're from Twitch, say hello. If not, you probably found your way over to YouTube by now. If Twitch, I don't know, something happened with Ecamm and Twitch, and it wasn't working well together for me. All right. So now I'm going to get this out of the way. We'll be back for this machine later. And now we're going to add a little bit of sparkle to these trees. And I'm going to do that with embossing powder. Now you could add just little black sparkles on top. That would be cute too. And that would play off of some of the black parts from these cards. But I think having a little gold in here would be a good thing. But now where, pray tell, is my, here it is, my embossing magic pad. Okay, so I'm gonna just pounce that all over these trees to make sure that there's no oil, residue, anything from my fingers on there. And then I'm going to just clean up all that dust. This is the most dusting I do in my life. And then just to be extra safe here so that they don't shift around, I think I'm going to put them on my sticky mat just to be safe. Okay. Now I'm going to get some embossing and watermark ink. Do I have that here? Yeah, here's some embossing and watermark ink. This is an old pad. I hope it works. And I'm going to get my acrylic block. That might not be the right size. I'll use this bigger one. And then I'm going to stamp the sparkles onto these trees. Now, let me plug in my embossing tool. I'm using an old Marvy embossing tool because I took my Wagner tool home the other night and I forgot it. I'll bring it back. And then we're going to pick the different sparkles that correspond to the trees. So you can kind of tell because they were designed next to each other. This one goes here, this one goes here, and this one goes here. So let's start with, we'll start with the middle one. Why not? Let's make it difficult. And I need some embossing powder. So here is my gold fine detail embossing powder. And I am going to use my tweezers for this too. So we'll see how this goes. All right, I think I have too much powder on the back of this one. It was sitting in the powder. So I'm going to ink this up real well with my embossing and watermark ink pad. And then I'm just going to stamp this over the tree. Just gentle, and just give it a second to transfer. You don't have to pull it up right away. And then I'm going to pull this up by its trunk and sprinkle some. This is an old embossing powder. I don't want brass band. I want fine detail. I need fine detail gold. Where is it? Here it is. This is an old jar. Hopefully it'll work. Fine detail. Black, silver, clear. Well, we're going with this old one. Hopefully it'll work. Embossing powder does get old, so if you have any trouble with your embossing powder, kind of remember that it does get old over time. All right, so now we have our little dots. There they are. So now I'm going to get my heat tool. I'm going to just heat it for a second, let it just heat up a little bit. By getting it hot first, I don't have to like hit the paper quite as long. All right, so I'll just, there we go. Oh, cute, cute. All right, look how cute these are. Can you see the little shine? Just that little sparkle. That's so fun. That's so pretty. I love that. And you could do that with silver if you want. Maybe you have some other colors in your collection, or you can do that technique. Let's say you wanted to do it with red, but you wanted it to be shiny. You could do it with your Misty, where you stamp it in red first, and then don't remove it. Stamp it with embossing and watermark ink right over the red, and then use clear powder, and then you'll get clear, shiny red elements. I'm going to turn off this fuse. It doesn't need to be on that long. I'm only going to show you how to die cut and stamp that. I'm not going to make a whole card out of that because I have one to show you. Okay, so now let's do this one. This one goes for this tree. Okay. So we need our embossing and watermark ink again. I've touched this enough times that I probably contaminated it with my grease. I have made videos for embossing tips and tricks. I have some really interesting embossing videos too on my channel about how to emboss through stencils and other things like that. So, but maybe I should do a new and improved embossing tips and tricks, Vicki. That's a very good idea. Because there are so many things you can do with embossing powder. I think Jennifer McGuire and I may have done a tag team video on that. But I can certainly add that to my repertoire too. Can never have enough tips and tricks, right? Okay, so this one is a little bit of a bolder image, which is great. Get a little more shine out of this. And you know, you could do a whole bunch of these little trees and put them away and then just add them to tags too, because it's the perfect little design with a Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays greeting. Did I get it all? I think I did. Embossing powder is so pretty. It really is. Look how pretty that shine is. Isn't that pretty? So delicate. I like that. You have to just be careful that it's dry before you start manhandling it, but that is a very pretty shine. All right, so we've got two. We have one more to do. And then we'll assemble this card and we will be done that card. Now, the greeting would have been really pretty embossed as well. But I did want to play off the black a little bit, so, you know, sometimes it's a toss-up between what you want to do and how it's going to look. A little bit of gold sparkle in the greeting would be pretty. All right, sounds like a lot of you would like an updated embossing tips and tricks. So those videos are fun because it's just like bam, 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 all the techniques without having to like sit through watching a card get assembled. Most of us know how to assemble a card, but the tips and tricks are fun, right? Okay.
Question.
Yes.
Laurie wants to know, can she laminate with the fuse?
Yes, absolutely you can. Just put it on setting 3 and laminate it. You know, you just put whatever you want to put in a laminating pouch and put it right through the fuse. So yes, you absolutely can. And
Robert wants to know, what brand of heat gun is that?
This is a Marvy heat gun, very old. I don't even know if they make it anymore. But I do, if you want a good recommendation, there's two that I really like. I like the Wow heat tool, and I like the Marvy heat tool.
And you can't use like a hair dryer?
No, you can't use a hair dryer because the hair dryer doesn't get hot enough, number one, and plus the way the heat is directed out of a heat tool, it's very directional. A blow dryer, a hair dryer, kind of just blow the embossing powder off. All right, last one. So cute. There we go. And there is our little bit of sparkle and shine. Get it in the light so you can see it. So cute. Okay. So now we've got our 3 little decorated trees, and by letting that ink dry, we didn't have any scattered powder where we didn't want it. And that's why I did the trees, I put them aside, and I worked on the background, and then came back to it. Now, let me get my heat tool out of the way. All right, and now we're gonna assemble this little card. So, let's put this away. I know I didn't clean that, but that wouldn't be the first time I didn't clean a stamp set before I put it away and then wonder why things don't stamp well. And I'm going to put this away because like all these sticky things, you know I'm going to lay something on it and then it's going to be a mess. Okay, so let's get some tape runner. So we'll start by taping this panel to this panel. And the reason why there's a big hole in it if you just joined us is because I am being a little bit more conservative with my black cardstock today. And this was the panel that I cut this one out of. And I figured why waste it? Nobody's gonna know. There we go. Okay, so now we have that cute little background. Now, even though I used Applemint on this card, I feel like Lucky Clover is a great match, but I don't have any. Did I use my last piece? No, I have to have a half sheet in here. Here we go. Here's a half sheet. I feel like Lucky Clover is like a bright version of Applemint, and they work really nicely together. So I'm going to use the Lucky Clover for the card base, just because I feel like it's brighter. And so this is two ways to do the same card, because I'm going to show you the other card that I made with the Poly-Glaze.
Another laminating question.
Yes.
If you're laminating with the fuse, do you need to use the carrier sheet, or is the carrier sheet just for foiling?
I would read the instructions on the back of your laminating pouches to see if they require you to put it into some kind of carrier sheet or if they say you can directly laminate it, because some of them are different. I would definitely check first. But the instructions should be on the back of the package of laminating pouches. I don't want to say stick it through and then have it melt in your machine, you know? That wouldn't be good. Okay, so now I'm going to pop this on here. And then we're going to layer these two panels together. This is just that plain white one.
Question from Kathy. Can you emboss over the Poly-Glaze sheets?
Yes, you can.
Like emboss sparkles over the Poly-Glaze trees?
Yep, you sure can. Foil first, though. Always get your foiling out of the way so that nothing damages the foil. And then once you do that, then you can do whatever you want on top of it. All right, so I need some foam squares here because I'm going to pop this panel up. We're going to get a lot of dimension here. I'll use 6 squares for this so it doesn't sink too much in the center. All right, and I'm going to put this right in the center of the card. I know it's so sad to like block away all that cute pattern, but it's okay. It's going to be cute. All right, so that looks... I swear, sometimes it looks so even, and then I look up at the screen and it looks crooked. All right, better than horrible. There we go. Better than horrible. Now I'm going to put my trees on here. So this tree is going to go here. This tree is going to go here. And this tree is going to go here. So we're going to line them up, and I'm going to put them on with foam squares. So we're having a little bit more dimension. So I'm going to leave them in place while I do this. I'm just going to flatten that out a little bit. And I'll use a big square there, a big square there, and then a smaller one up here. Alrighty. Okay, so I think that will look good. And you can see it extends a little bit on the top and a little bit on the bottom. And that's okay. That's what I kind of want it to do. I know, I wouldn't normally think of using this color combination for a Christmas card either. But you know where I like to find some inspiration for Christmas colors is when you go into like department stores, sometimes like, you go into Kohl's or you go into Target or you go into the mall and they've got like a really cool, unconventional color palette going on with all their Christmas decorations. And then it makes me want to try that for a card. I've got a tiny little piece of a foam square here. I just want something up here. But this is gonna go off the card quite a bit. Okay. So let's get this one in place. And they don't have to be, this tree doesn't have to be centered in the card. It just has to be centered in your row of trees. So there we go. There's tree 2. And we'll use one big one here, and then we'll just go with some small ones. An embossing powder tends to warp your paper a little bit. So, you might want to use a few extra foam squares or a little extra tape when you're embossing to really keep things down and flat looking. All right, and this one I'll just put right here. Good, good. All right, now this is just going to go on top. And I'll put it down just a little bit, and I'm going to tape this right to the card. So I can do that with glue. I can do that with a little bit of adhesive. And we'll just find the right spot. So I like it down a little bit. I think that looks pretty good. And it looks pretty centered on the box. Not necessarily perfect on the trees, but centered on the card. So look how cute that is. And you can see that little bit of shine, right? That cute little touch of glimmer. Now you can jazz this up a little bit by using some metallic pearls. They would look really pretty on this card because the card doesn't have a ton of sparkle to it. So if you wanted to add a little more sparkle, you could definitely do that. So let's just strategically place a couple of these. So we could put like one here. I like this one. Let's find one in here that's upright. Put one there. And then one like right down here. So we can like move that one over like that, just to give it a little something. And I wouldn't do this with the foil version because the foil has so much shine and sparkle that I don't think you need it. But for this card, to give it that little bit of a festive feel, I think this is fun to add a little bit of extra gold. And like I said, you could have always done the greeting in gold too. However, the greeting in black is nice because it does play on the black borders that we have going. So it's really up to you, whatever you think, whatever you feel would look best. Okay, so there is that finished card. Now this is the one that is stamped with embossing powder. Let me show you the foiled version of this card that I showed on release party night. So here's the foiled version. Now ready for the flash? Here it comes. Look at that. So this one is very easy to make. It's a little easier to make because there's less steps, because you don't have to do the embossing separately. All of the design is one pass in the foiling machine. But you can see you can do, and the reason why I wanted to do this today is because at release party, I was very, all of my cards used foil. I just got really foil crazed. I was like crazy with foil. And I didn't want people who don't like foil to feel left out and feel like they can't make a beautiful card. So I thought today, by showing you how you can make an absolutely gorgeous card that still has lots of sparkle in there and shine, but you didn't need to actually use foil. But let me show you quickly how to foil this, and then I'll show you a couple other cards that I made using these trees, because I think that they're fun to look at too. Okay, so I'm going to just turn this on quickly, and while this is heating up, I'm going to show you the Poly-Glaze sheets. So I have all mine in one big pack here, but normally I store the Poly-Glaze sheets with their corresponding stamp set. So let's find the one that I have in my, I gotta do the right one here. Let's see, this one. So I'm gonna just do this one because this is the one I still have sitting on my Misty to add the color. So with the Poly-Glaze sheets, it's so easy because all you have to do is get your scissors and cut a Poly-Glaze design out. Now, Poly-Glaze, if you're new to foiling, is a substance that will grab foil when it's sent through a laminator. It's similar to the toner sheets that you see, except toner sheets are printed with black toner and not this glazy Poly-Glaze material. So the problem with the black toner is occasionally you see the spots that the foil misses, because sometimes the foil will miss a certain spot. Now, if that happens with Poly-Glaze, you don't really see it because it's kind of whitish. So once you get the foil on there, if it missed anything, it's not as obvious. And that's one of the reasons why a lot of people really like the Poly-Glaze. All right, so I'm going to take a Swiffer duster or any microfiber or dusting cloth, anti-static dusting cloth, and I'm just going to make sure there's no dust on the surface, especially considering I just used my embossing magic pad and embossing powder. There's a good chance there is some dust around. So I'm going to dust the back of the foil and the front of the Poly-Glaze sheet, and then I'm just going to put them together. And then I've got a clear carrier sheet here. This comes with our fuse machine, and I'm going to put it inside the carrier sheet. Now, some people have a regular laminator and they just use folded over copy paper. That does work, but I would recommend at least picking up ThermoWeb's crafting carrier sheets because they're a parchment paper that's lined with silicone and it gets more heat on the actual design. Parchment paper doesn't give you enough heat, but that silicone-lined parchment does. So I would look into that if you don't have one of these clear sheets. And you can also use those in the fuse, also in the Mink. If you have a Mink, that's fine. That's a great machine. It works the same exact way. All right, so now this is coming out of the machine, and I'm going to give it just a couple seconds to cool. All right. And I'm going to turn the machine off because we're only doing one just to show you. Now, this design is this tree. So we are going to cut it before we stamp it the same way we cut the stamped ones. So I'm going to pull this out. Once it's cool, then you can peel that and you can see all of that beautiful shine. So that's the same exact design that is in this tree. Same size, same design, except here I stamped it with Christmas pine. Here I have it with Poly-Glaze. Now I'm going to get my die cutting machine and I'm going to do the same thing that I did before. I know this is really close up, but that's all right. It's probably good for you guys to be able to see it close up. And I'm going to line that up the way I did with the stamped version. Oh, here's all my little pieces, but they were flat and I couldn't see them. All right, I was thinking, what was wrong with me that I would throw them all away? And there you go. There was nothing wrong with me. Well, that's not necessarily true. Okay. Oh, thank you. My nails are press-on nails. Makes it a lot easier. I did them on the airplane when we went to our family reunion. And they don't have any smells, so it's good. Nobody noticed. I just hid in the corner. Tom gave me the window seat so I could do my nails. Thanks, Tom. We also have to get to your word of the day, but let me stamp this first, and then we will move on to the word of the day, because I know everybody's always waiting for that. Okay, so I did not remove my stamp from the Misty, and I did not remove my template from the Misty. So hopefully that's still in the same spot. Did you see it jump a little bit? So I'm hoping it's still in the same spot. It looks like it is, but yeah, it is. Okay, so now you're just going to pop that tree that has the foil on it into the template the same way, and we'll just ink this up with some Applemint. Looking good. And the only different thing that I'm going to tell you to do after you've done this is just take a paper towel. Take a paper towel. Oops, let me get my tweezers. I just don't want to touch the surface of it until I do this. Take a piece of paper towel and just dab over the surface, because your ink isn't going to be able to penetrate where the foil is. So it's just going to rest on top of that foil. And this way, when you touch it, you won't smear it to the white parts of your design. And there we go. We've got our beautiful foiled Poly-Glaze design. And that can just get popped right onto your card wherever you want it. And it's the same look, but just a different medium. This is the Poly-Glaze. This is your stamps with your embossing powder. So 2 different ways to create really pretty Christmas cards using the stamps and the dies in this kit collection. If you're a big-time foiler like I am, I love to foil, then definitely go ahead and use the Poly-Glaze. If you love stamping and embossing, use that. If you love them both, do it all, right? All right, Tom. So I'm going to just put these cards up here so that they can take a look at them or do a screenshot or whatever they want. But let's get your word of the day.
Time for the word of the day?
Yes, and then I'm going to show a couple more cards after the word of the day.
Okay. Today's word of the day has to do with the ever-present automobile. I think our generation has probably spent more time in cars than anybody, right?
Yes.
Just driving to work, vacation here and there. Sometimes you get caught up in traffic, you get stuck, and you have to sit there. And sometimes you come up with ideas while you're in the car, better than anywhere else. And so today's word is kind of a combination of that being trapped in the car in traffic and coming up with ideas. Today's word of the day, incarspiration. Incarspiration, you're trapped and you're coming up with ideas. Word of the day.
That's great. That's a really good word of the day. I like that.
Back.
Oh, it's so funny.
To the dead space.
Oh, my goodness. All right. Well, if you didn't join us during our release party, I did show a couple other cards that I made using this set. So I want to show you this. This is another one where I used the Poly-Glaze. And I used our Twirl It Check background stencil to create that background. And I used Master Layouts 20 for this frame. But you can see now that you've seen how to do it with ink, you could translate this into the same card, and you could have the inked look instead. And instead of having all that shine, you could just have a little bit of delicate shine in there. And instead of even doing the stenciling in the background, you could do this same stamping in the background, which is such a cute look, and it would just look like big snowflakes coming down. So that's another card. And then on release party night, I also showed a tag, very non-traditional colors. I did Poly-Glaze with this too, but you could also do that with ink. And I used our decorative tags. That's one of our die sets, decorative tags. And then I left the tag inside the die. So let me just show you that. I left the tag inside the die, and I flipped it over with the tag still inside, and I ink blended over it. Then I popped the tag out, and that's how I got that little shadow layer of ocean mist behind there. So that's another, I'm sorry, that's light spruce. Another technique that I'll definitely show you in another video, because I think that really makes a nice little grounding area, and you don't need anything special to do it. You just need the die itself. Very, very easy to do. See what I mean? Like when you put the die back on there, the only thing showing through is the area that I ink blended. So once I ink blended, then I pulled the die off, and that gave me that shadow in there. And then I used the star piece of Poly-Glaze, but you could also stamp that with embossing ink and gold embossing powder to put a star on one of the trees for a tag. And I made that a New Year's tag because I said on release party night, I thought that would be fun to hang on a bottle of champagne and bring to a party. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you got some fun ideas here on how to use this Oh Christmas Tree set. Super easy to do once you know how, right? It's always like that, right? First it seems daunting, and then you see it and you're like, oh, I can do that. That's easy. Well, it is easy, and you definitely can do it. So for those of you that have ordered the kit, many of your kits have already shipped. A lot of you are getting very close to getting a shipping notice, and you'll be able to make this card right outside of right as soon as you open the box. If you haven't purchased the kit, I want to tell you we're down to about the last 10% of the kits that we bought. It's really selling fast. So if this is one on your wish list, it would be a good idea to get it. I'm not sure it's going to last through the end of today. I looked at it before I came on, and it's selling very quickly. So if it's something you want, it is a great value. You get close to $150 worth of products in this kit for only $59.95. All right, everybody. Well, this was so much fun, and I hope you had a great time. Brianne Loveland, again, thank you so much for sharing all the links for everybody. It's so helpful when people are looking for things and they don't want to spend time surfing the website because they'd rather watch the video and learn how to do the cards. So thank you for your help. But if you missed any of Brianne's links, you can find everything that I used in today's video on our website at GinaKDesigns.com. Now, if you like this video, and we sure hope that you have, we would love it if you'd give it a thumbs up. Just hit the thumbs up button. That helps the video get out there. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell, all notifications, so you never miss another video. We're going to give away a gift card in just a little bit, but before we do, I wanted to let you know we have a Facebook group. It's called Gina K Designs and Stamp TV Friends. It's a lot of fun over there. It's a group that has about 49,000 members. Make sure you pick the right group because there are a few spoof groups out there. Join our group, come and share your love of Gina K Designs products, show us your Gina K projects, and get inspiration from our wonderful members. They share a lot of cards every day in our group, and I share all of the things that I make all the time in the group as well. I'll also take pictures of these cards and share them here on my YouTube channel on the Posts tab, so you'll be able to see good quality photos that maybe it's not as clear on video, but you'll be able to see all the details. All right, well, why don't we give away a gift card, Tom?
All right, drummer, please. Today's winner is Nicole Schwanz. Nicole Schwanz!
Nicole. Yay! Congratulations, Nicole. All you have to do is send your name and email address to info@GinaKDesigns.com, and we will get that gift card out for you. All right, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Tom and I will be back next Tuesday night with another Stamp and Chat Live. And in the meantime, stay safe and healthy. Have a great weekend. We love you all so very much, and we'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye.